Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your European Wildcards. Still left out here alongside Kret. We just got finished watching Aquila versus SK Gaming. Fantastic game we had from both teams, honestly, but Aquila's the one that came out in front.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to do it again up against Coast. Now, last week, Coast did lose a member of the roster. Zindern quit the team, apparently quitting competitive Smite, but, you know, we've heard that before. Anyway, hopefully he'll be back. Coast is going to be playing with their coach, manager, and son, Emilzy, in their jungle role. Young Emilzy, only 14 years old, but he's been a great influence on the scene, as we mentioned earlier. Geb banned out. Aquila have learned that even though they don't like it, other people do.
Exactly. Aquila came out through the Challenger Cup, which we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Week in, week out, Aquila versus Potato Boys was the sole matchup we saw in the finals, and neither team liked Geb.
Nope.
So they just didn't have to ban Geb for about 2 months. One of the first games they played in the Wildcards, they didn't ban Geb. They didn't do well. So they go ahead and they ban Geb this time around, and they've sort of learned their lesson. They also banned Nua, identical bans to what they've had last game.
It's funny that Potato Boys had the same problem. They also didn't ban Geb, and once again, SK went insane with their Geb, but we probably won't see them again this week. Freya banned out, and that's something that, well, we saw Reels have a really good Freya, but it's also something that Ataraxia can do very well. First pick, Thor for Repikas. This makes sense because Repikas's Thor is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying Repikas reminds me of Weekend, both in play style and how they go about doing things and their picks. So Thor, you're gonna look to see a lot of aggressive ultimates coming out from this Thor right here. You'll see a lot of ultimates come out basically on cooldown, always looking for something. Not really that defensive Thor we see out of some North American teams, just more or European teams, just more straight hard aggression the way the North American players play Thor.
That said, it is one of the top level Thors in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, hopefully we'll see a lot of the cool Thor plays as well. Almost Garzi in their level of play. Aphrodite, not something we see too often anymore. Can do very well against Ra in a 1v1 or just in sort of a healing team fight setting. And it's a character that Confrey is very good at. Vulcan, you already know, pretty prime. We saw it last game. We're seeing it again. He's on a roll.
This is actually rather interesting here. So we talked about the mage rage, the combo of the soul lane and the mid lane, 2 mages. Last time we saw the Ra Vulcan combo, which is pretty much what you would expect. Everything you saw. Now we have the Vulcan Aphrodite combo because we have a more carry-centric jungler.
Yes.
We're going to protect the Thor. Instead of where Hunbats was a setup man for the rest of his team, Thor will be a setup man but also setting up for himself. And Confrey's job is to really protect him and the Hunter Ataraxia, who maybe we'll see a Rom out of this time around.
Definitely a possibility, but we'll see what happens now. Ymir banned away. So what does that leave for Aquila in their support role? Kanye doesn't really like your standard supports. It's going to be Bacchus for Coast, who is generally the next standard support after Athena and Geb and even Ymir. But Ares can have a very good matchup against Bacchus because he has a cripple and he stops you from jumping. Now, Ares hasn't generally performed as well over the SPL. He's very hard to play. If you miss a chain, you're in a lot of trouble.
15 seconds.
But Kanye Life is very good at this character.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye Life is very good at this character, and this is a lane that we've seen come out of Aquila so often, Kret. Rom and Ares coming out from the purple squad right here is incredible. These players really know how to do their thing. Ataraxia is a player that will hit all three snipes before the team fight starts, just to force somebody out. Really likes to use that utilitarian type approach to the Hunter role. And Kanye Life, I mean, you saw him on Ymir, who is an aggressive support by nature. You saw the interesting way of leveling up his abilities just to be able to do damage and still do his job as support. Sort of look for the same thing out of Kanye Life, just forcing people out with good old-fashioned damage.
And the other thing to mention, and I believe it was Hindu Man who tweeted this out, you know, maybe with less of the pressure on Coast to perform, they'll just go back to their old ways, have fun, and be the old Coast that we saw earlier in the season. Shaggy's Hank on Artemis.
Yeah.
That's just kind of his character. She hasn't been played in a long time. She's not really big in this meta, but why not play Artemis?
Yeah, I mean, as we get into this game right here, all eyes will be on Emilzy. You are the sub, you are the coach, you are the sub support, you are nothing close to the jungler. Let's see how he does, and I actually have really high hopes for this. As you said, the mental aspect of not really having any of the pressure on you for Team Coast will be a big thing, and Emilzy, definitely a practiced player. And as a coach, you have to understand all the roles infinitely,
yeah.
And as a support, your mechanics have to be on point. So it has the recipe for success. We'll see if it actually works out that way for the red team today.
The other thing to mention is last time we saw this matchup last week, Aquila was able to not win, but kill the Titan in 17 minutes. So Coast didn't have as much luck last time, and we'll see if they're able to do it. But let's remind you of our teams: Repicos on Thor, Ataraxia on Rom, Pretty Prime on Vulcan, Confrey on Aphrodite, and Kanye Life on Ares.
That'll make up Team Aquila, where Team Coast on the other side in red. Emilzy in the jungle on that Nemesis. Carino playing that Ra in the solo lane, while Variety goes and hangs out in the middle lane on, or Variety goes and hangs out in the solo lane on that Zhang Kui. Shaggy's Hank and Princess Tomato will share the lane on Artemis and Bacchus. And as minions start to spawn, both teams get into place, and we'll see this game start.
Well, we saw an invade last time coming out from the Aquila duo lane. This time, looks like they don't want to go for it. They don't have as much pressure with an Ares as they did with a Ymir, so they weren't able, or they don't feel like they would be able to force off Team Coast. And maybe a missed opportunity, but either way, getting blue and heading the lane is just fine. Gives them a little bit more of a creep advantage, which can be very strong against Artemis.
Both teams looking at their blue item, or their blue buffs, as both dual lanes get into lane around the same time, pretty much exactly the same time. And solo lane sort of doing the same thing. Synchronous buff camps coming out from both of these teams. 1 second or so behind for the blue side of Aquila on the solo lane, and we will eventually just see them go into lane. Pressure on the left side, and we're already going to see an invade onto this red camp.
Wow.
Aquila showed off this strat last match, Kret, and they're not going to hide it this time around. Seems like Coast watched it, though, as Carino has already made the rotation. Princess Tomato's here as well. In comes the jump.
Yeah, and that looks like going to go to Aquila. Now they're backing off around the back side. They do get that buff. They do get a nice amount of experience in gold. It's going to impact the jungler. And speaking of junglers, in the solo duo lane, Emilzy already sitting against at half health, and Aphrodite very strong in this solo duo phase.
Yeah, I mean, when the jungler is hanging out in the solo lane with the solo laners, with Aphrodite is just able to split out and trade out because she can just heal up the poke. Repicos is actually going to stay in the lane for one more wave because he's just going to heal up the poke. So nothing wrong for Aquila right there in the long lane, where we actually see Team Coast's Nemesis Emilzy rotate over to that mid and look for back camps to share with Carino.
And the other thing to mention is because of the way Aquila started getting the red buff very early on, they have a little bit less to do on the map. So now heading over to the back harpies a little bit late is Repicos. He's going to clear those, get the back harpies on the left-hand side, grab his speed buff, and that's sort of his game plan. He's able to wait a little bit longer and just keep sharing those waves. And now, while he's clearing by himself, he's actually being less efficient for his team holistically. So this is something that you want to use specifically. We'll give the jungler more experience. So this is when you're trying to hit level 5 on your Thor, which I believe is the plan here.
Right, Thor's going to look for his speed buff, and after that speed buff drops, we'll take a look at his experience and see where he lies. Speed buff will actually not put him up to level 5, so he's going to need one more, back camps will probably do it, Kret.
Oh, definitely.
And then from there, we're going to see a transition, and we talked a little bit about it, and Repicos will finally let the curtains come up, and we'll look for a gank.
Yeah, the question is, where will the first ult be? And actually, it's going to be after recall, and that's because of gold in hand, currently sitting at, well, just about 1,000. We'll be selling that to get the combat boots. And with those combat boots, a little bit of extra power. Going into the mid-camp fight with a Thor ultimate and a recall from Pretty Prime as well for his boots will be very, very important here.
Mid-camps respawning. Aquila taking a look. Aquila's support hanging out on the left side of the lane. So they're going to want to shade over to the left where Team Coast going to the right. Will Aquila fight here? That's the question.
I think they're definitely going to be looking for it. Look at where Kanye Life is positioned. He's got his no escape ultimate, and beads are not available, so this could be really big. Now, Emilzy is going to be able to hog the camp, but does he have a way out? Does Kanye? Will have the pull on 2. Repicos jumping in. Kanye very low, but the Earthshaker onto 4. Princess Tomato gets the first blood, but he could turn around really big.
Emilzy already out of the picture. He's way too low. Repicos being chased, but a perfect wall is is going to provide just enough distance, and Godfrey's going to link up immediately, and they're going to go ahead and heal up. 3 members deep is Aquila right here in the middle lane. Great stun knockup from the meatball on a Variety. He'll find safety under tower, and not enough chase coming out from Aquila, just not high enough. Level 6, level 5, you want to be careful when diving these towers. Towers are just so powerful. So decent fight coming out from Aquila, not finding any kills, but shoving people out of the lane just enough.
They got a kill. It was a one-for-one trade. First Blood did go to Coast, though.
Yes.
So a slight advantage towards Coast, and that really comes down to the early rotation from Variety. He was there proactively, and he was able to turn the fight around for his team, whereas Kanye Life, I feel like he hesitated a little bit with his ultimate. He just waited too long, and it became too obvious. But speaking of things that are a little too obvious, Replica stealing the speed buff away, and with Mjolnir's attunement, just able to teleport out so quickly.
And again, just Godfrey able to provide the link. The link also is a deterrent.
Yes,
you know that there's going to be a heal whenever you do damage onto him. You can actually get stunned if Aphrodite comes and joins the fight because they were separated by a rock. So just seeing that link on the other player is a big deal, just like the steal is right here.
Yeah, and the question is, this is a little bit risky for Coast. Wall comes out, and Millsy's going to be able to get the camp. Pretty Prime is here, doesn't find the Magma Bomb, but Variety should fall. Currently trying to juke around, and he's doing his best Shadow Q impression. Now turning around onto Prime. Great ultimate coming out from Carino in the middle lane. Confrey very low as well, and absolutely eliminated, but Repicos coming back down. He can't seem to continue this engagement, but rotating in is Kanye Life on the left-hand side. Could be able to make it in time, but he's not. He just stopped to clear creeps and is only arriving just now. Might be able to get a kill. No. Uncharacteristic.
Yeah, an interesting play coming out from Team Coast. That just looked like a frustration play to me. They were frustrated that their jungle has been completely invaded and said, you know what, we're going to take these guys blue buffs, and walked into a bad situation. But they turned it good. They just wound up winning the fight. Yeah,
and that was just really Aquila not responding properly. It should have been a bad situation, but it wasn't. On the left-hand side, no escape. Onto 2, Shaggy Shank will use the boar. Now this can turn around onto Kanye very quickly with the Intoxicate in the trap, trying to get damage onto Tomato. Ataraxia does have his ultimate available to secure a kill, and the question is, will Kanye survive? The belly flop does not land. Princess Tomato will fall. That's a single kill in the left-hand lane. Currently 4-3, very close in gold. And experience is actually about 1,000 in favor of Coast. So that's a little bit more substantial.
Interesting play coming out from Princess Tomato. Very, very, very aggressive with about 5% HP, jumping directly into Ataraxia. I guess the plan was for Shaggy Shank just to kill him before he comes down, but there wasn't enough. The kill threshold just wasn't that low. So Princess Tomato just kind of leaping to his doom as Ataraxia goes and collects just a kill for himself. That's going to be 1-0-0 split on the Aquila Hunter, so good job coming out from the blue team right there to respond, but you know, they really got to look to turn around those fights. That fight over a blue buff is going to weigh in Kanye Life's mind for a while, and they need to just have a short memory and turn it around, especially with this fight for the mid camps coming up rather soon.
Yeah, Aquila just feels like their playstyle isn't as manicured as it was in the last game. They're playing a little bit more loose, and they're getting punished for it a little bit, but Emilzy now looking to invade on the speed buff. It's going to get hogged out. Great hog save from Repicos, just waiting for the last moment and being like, okay, this is where I need to use it. Getting that secured. 4 players from Coast on the left-hand side. Left mid-camp is going to be spawning within 5 seconds. Thor's here. Thor has his ult.
Carino and Emilzy are here as well. Blink in from Kanye Life. He's going to get one pull. Great ultimate coming out. That's going to be 500 on 3 different members. And Shaggy Shake takes down the life of Kanye Life. The ultimate's coming out from Rom in the back. Repicon seals it with the basic, and Princess Tomato being chased out with the Berserker Barrage. Turns around for the quick stun on the last tick of that burp, and in goes the heal from the Ra. We've got blue members waiting in it and still giving chase.
Ataraxia is his roll in 3 seconds, but he's not going to need his Pretty Prime. Secures the kill with a Magma Bomb over the wall. Nice trade in favor of Aquila. Aquila currently tied up 5-5. They're in the area of the Gold Fury. I don't think it's really something they're going to be looking for, but actually Princess Tomato super low, has been spotted out, so maybe they can think about it as Kanye Life is on his way back.
Yeah, this is something they could just force credit. They do have Variety and Carino full HP ready to fight, and they're actually just going to turn on Variety, and he's just eliminated by the bearded Vulcan. Pretty Prime doing tons of damage in that engagement, while Emilzy just trying to provide some poke and deterrent from aggressing onto the tower. And here comes the Carino with a heal, so that's good resurgence from Team Coast. But Princess Tomato has sat in this back jungle with 20% HP for close to a minute. He needed to have gone back and been able to fight. Luckily for Team Coast, Aquila did not take that opportunity.
Ooh.
But with Princess Tomato not there, they're going to go ahead. Look at the goal.
Yeah, they're going to take it now with the Aphrodite. This should go fairly well. Currently at 50% health. Carino in the area. Kanye Life does have the Hog 3. Will confirm the gold for 8 minutes and 50 seconds. And we're currently looking at a 1,500 gold lead, 1,000 experience. So the game has turned around a little bit. Still not huge, but we saw Aquila do very well with this amount of momentum last game against the top-seeded team, SK Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of how Aquila does things, Cret. They go ahead and they take small they get a gold fury, and then they get your red buff, 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 and they keep doing it. But it's all about the smaller victories. Very rarely do you see Aquila just 15-minute fire giant. They don't go for the huge plays. They go for the smaller plays and take games step by step. And a lot of the times we see their lead go 1,000, 15, 2,000, 25, and just sort of inching their way up until all of a sudden you press tab on the enemy team and you realize you're down by 7K.
The other thing to mention is that Coast is actually paying it back. Another invade onto blue, stealing it away with the help of Emilzy. And now actually Emilzy engaging onto Kanye, taking him down with the help of Carino, just sort of getting caught out there, which is very, very easy to happen when you're an Ares player. Now blue buff on the left-hand side will be stolen as well, and honestly, the buff control is very much in favor of Team Coast, and it shouldn't be.
It's interesting, Cret. The blue buff control is going the way of Team Coast, and the damage buffs, both red and orange, are going the way of Aquila. They're sort of just trading their mana for this enemy red and their own speed. They're keeping their speed. They're getting the enemy red. And then Team Coast is combating that by getting blues. Left-hand mid-camps are going to go the way of Team Coast. Right still have a wild spawn.
Now, Repicos is wandering around in the left jungle, does have his ultimate available, but there's good ward coverage coming out from Coast. And Repicos, I mean, what's he waiting? Well, he's waiting for his speed buff, but he's also looking for an opportunity.
Right. He was definitely looking for an opportunity. Pinged out on the map is Kanye Life. They see that he's alone, or at least they think he's alone. Variety's going to take out Confree solo in the solo lane, so that's going to be good for them across the map. Princess Tomato very low, just caught out. So much damage coming out from Ares. Pretty Prime, close range Vulcanal just to provide some distance for himself. And a great Aegis, but he's caught out. Gets the kill over the wall at the Princess Tomato, but dies to the hand of the Hunter. And Kanye Life going to keep aggressing.
Yeah, Shaggy Shank does not have the board. It was used and actually zoned out Ataraxia and Repicos for a long time. That's why they didn't rotate in. Now Ataraxia in a lot of trouble. Will go up in the air, but can his team help him out? Kanye Life blinks in, finds the no escape. Where's the follow-up? It's from Repicos from the sky, turning onto Carino, who has no mana, but they don't position it properly, and Carino is going to get away, but Emilzy able to get a kill. Will he be able to dash out? There's the dash. There's the escape. Uncharacteristic misplay from Aquila, and Team Coast capitalizes perfectly.
The boxing potential coming out from Nemesis. We talked a little bit about this, Cred, how Emilzy is the one on the team to look at. He's the one that all the spotlights will be on, and he's 1-1-6. And on Nemesis, that's a very, very fine slash line.
He's still a support player.
Exactly. Nemesis can do a lot in the way of support, and it's setting up his team. One thing I really did like about that play coming out from Aquila was that as soon as Ataraxia went up to his inevitable doom, Kanye Life said, look, I would rather die instead of you. Goes, drops to no escape, turns all the attention on him, and Ataraxia gets away scot-free.
That said, they still did have some trouble playing it. I mean, Carino got away essentially for no reason, just Repicos sort of moving in the wrong direction. So we're not seeing the implementation from Aquila that we usually see, and that's a little bit strange. But they still are in a good spot. They're only behind about 200 gold. Now 3,000 experience in favor of Coast, which is actually fairly substantial. Coast, what are they going to do with this? How are they going to transition this advantage into a lead?
Yeah, I mean, Coast right now, you mentioned that they have a slight advantage. The goal difference is now about even. 500 in the way of Team Coast, which means absolutely nothing, but 3,700 experience, which is really where you see it. You take a look at the numbers, and level 14 on that Ra, leading the way of everyone in the middle lane. A lot of damage coming out onto basically everybody, and Emilzy's going to take the life of Pretty Prime, while Shaggy's Hank turns it around on the left-hand side, takes out the support.
Yeah, and are actually going to be sprinting away. Replica's still in the area, and another 2 kills going to Coast. They're now pressuring down the middle lane. The Dream is alive, but it's turning around onto a Millsy who's very low. And the tower shot.
Nice.
No, the hammer just getting the kill. Repicas, but he has to be careful because lurking in the back is Princess Tomato. Shings the belly flop, and now with the back off, not going to connect with his belch. But now stunned out once again. Repicas will fall. Tomato able to get out as Variety on the backhand side forces Confrey away.
Variety's going to go ahead and tank the tower. They just want to force this middle lane tower down. Confrey taking a little bit of damage from that Carino beam. Heal going down onto the minions. Not going to be able to force this tower. They really, really were forcing this one, Kret. Team Coast managed to get it down to about 20% HP as far as that's concerned. And Variety going to stay here very low, but he is Jean-Qui. And he does have the start of a defensive item, Cloak, so he's got 10 for each protection, so that's going to be good for him.
The Gold Fury has been started by Aquila Carino in the area, but the support Princess Tomato is still far away. The Gold Fury at about 50%. Kanyev does have the Hog 3. We'll be able to get it just in time, and Princess Tomato not going to be there. Belly flops just hoping he can get someone, but it wasn't even close.
I love this. We just talked about how Aquila doesn't go for these highly aggressive plays to get their leads. They go inch by inch by inch. Well, once their lead is threatened, Kret, they just showed that they're totally fine doing that. They have a play style, but they can adapt, and they will deviate from their book if need be. And as they're playing right now, they're just giving up too many kills, and that's what Gold Fury's for. A quick 1,500 gold back on the team scoreboard. And that's exactly what they looked for. They went aggressive. They surprised Team Coast, and that put more gold in their coffers, and it's about even as far as the gold is concerned.
But there's a few big problems in terms of the actual item advantages coming out from Coast right now. They've got Shin Size done on Nemesis, which is huge. They almost have their sovereignty on Princess Tomato, and he'll be able to get it once he recalls, which he should be doing right now. We're going to see another Wingblade, maybe a Witchblade out from Kanye Life, which in this case is actually just the wrong decision. He's not strong enough to do it, but no escape in the middle lane will pull a Millsy. Divine Judgment turned around. Retribution Shield will not save him as the Earthshaker from Pretty Prime does come through. Variety giving chase will be slowed down a little bit. Belly flopping Intoxicate. Carino finds the kill. Replica's trying to get out. Pretty Prime as well, and Prime is very low. With the Aegis, can he buy enough time? No.
Variety and 2 other members of Team Coast are going to go ahead and walk away. Ataraxia is in the air, and so is Repicas looking for the Princess Tomato. Going to go ahead and get stunned out of the spin, and the Tomato takes down the enemy jungler. Ataraxia all here by himself. Wants to get Variety, but he's just a little bit too tanky. Here comes Confrey. Not exactly the aggressive character, but here he comes on that Aphrodite. Great heal coming out from Ra, and that's going to secure the detour coming out from Aquila. They have to back off. No pun intended as Confrey casts that spell, but the Ra heal just too strong right now, and Team Coast able to stand their ground where they probably should not be able to.
Yeah, Aquila just kind of deathmatching right now, which is not a good look for them. On the left-hand side, they're giving up a lot of pressure in their lane, and Kanye Life trying to block the auto attacks, doing a very good job of it, but the tower will fall as he doesn't have a way to clear the creep wave. Tusky gonna help Shaggy Shank do just that, and in the middle lane, another fight starting. Aquila is gonna back off here. They just cannot mess with Carino right now.
Right, they really can't. Carino level 17 already. Nobody on Aquila except for Aphrodite really eclipsing that level 15 mark. And the jungler level 14, Repicas, who we talked so highly about and who Aquila really likes to lean on when he plays this Thor. We talked about the soul lane pick being chosen to protect the Thor, but with 3, 3, and 4, and really nothing spectacular coming out of him, Kret, there's nothing really to go crazy with. There's no insane plays that you want to make with the Aphrodite, so you're just a regular team, and right now they're trailing just by about almost just a little bit above 1,000 there. If they be careful to not let this bleed too much.
I mean, the real problem, the real bleeding point, I feel like, is just what's happening with Kanye Life. He's not able to get a hold in this game currently. 0-6-6, which is horribly uncharacteristic 17 minutes into the game for Aquila's support. Ares has not worked out. He will not have his sovereignty for quite some time. Looking at gold in hand, he's only got 500 gold per minute. So with 300 gold per minute, it's going to actually be like 9 minutes.
So let me pose this question to you, Kret. Aquila's come out significantly less polished in this match.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a lack of, I don't want to say respect, because I'm sure they respect these people as individuals, but do you think this is a lack of how much Team Coast was able to bring to the table? Do you think the anticipatory factor of Team Coast being already dead is just too much? They were just expecting something else.
I think in part, I mean, I don't want to speculate because this doesn't seem like a very Aquila thing to do.
Right, exactly.
But at the same time, there's something that's just not coming together.
Everyone can get lax, and if you're going to do it, Team Coast is the one to do it. And credit to Emilzy and friends, they showed up to play, and they're doing everything right.
Yeah, Emilzy has been playing so well. He's really been guiding his team around the map, and Coast is playing uncharacteristically as a unit,
right,
which is very cool to see. There's still some individual mishaps, a few missed belly flops and such, but the overall play from Coast is really spectacular. Now the question is, they have the lead. They have control of the game. It's only 500 gold, but it's 4,500 experience, which is a lot. They're in the driver's seat. What do they do with it?
Exactly. What do they do with it, Craig? That's the great question. Honestly, that's the question that they have a hard time answering, which is why they're 0-3 right now. They want to look for their first win of the wildcard split. They have to start looking for objectives, and even with the departure of their jungler Zindert and Emilzy, the coach, taking the hold, it's rough for them. They really... Right now, they want to look for a tower, I'd say. They have three tier 2 towers up. They want to either fight at the Fire Giant because they've been winning the majority of these fights.
Sure.
They want to target this Kanye Life character who's still only level 11. They can definitely just burn him down, take fire, and then push on whatever lane they want to. And I think that's the play that they want to make.
Oh, speaking of burning, Emilzy crippled out, could be in trouble here as the Searing Flame comes through. We'll be able to dash away. No escape. Perfect timing. The beads too early and pulled back in. Kanye Life will nearly give up his life for that, able to get away with the help of his Aphrodite, and now healing up. Variety giving chase with the Ghost. They will come out, but will they do enough damage? Well, the Exposed Evil should be enough, and Kanye goes down. The dive from Team Coast continues.
Variety in the back line looking for Confi. Great stun, but will it be enough? Doesn't have the heal, and Shaggy's Hank takes out the solo lane. Confi right there. All the members of Team Coast, with the exception of their jungler, will go ahead and hit an aggressive on that Gold Fury. 1 for 2 goes the team fight. Team Coast winning that one in spades. Gold difference now reaching about 1,000. It's the first time we've seen 4 digits on that for a while. These two teams have been even, but with 17 and 11 on the kills, that's going to be a much different story, and Team Coast looking very strong, uncharacteristic for the past 2 weekends.
Yeah, very much so. They are currently sitting with 2,600 gold, and you know, we're really starting to look more at gold than experience right now.
Right.
No level 20s yet, but as we're at 20 minutes and transitioning into late game, it's all about the gold value, and that's not that high just yet. So Aquila buying time is very much stronger than it usually is. They just need to sit around and farm, wait for the good team fight, and then turn the game off of it. This is still manageable,
right?
But Aquila have not been managing this game well so far in any sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye Life has had a very tough time this match. Really dying a decent amount. 7-7, 0-7-7 reads his slash line. That said, Ataraxia has been 3-0-2. But he hasn't been doing what he normally does. We usually see those ROM ults come out in the middle of a team fight or towards the beginning of a team fight to sort of change the mentality of the enemy. He's sort of hanging them onto kills because his team hasn't really been able to seal the deal a lot of the time. So he's looking for doing something that he's not quite used to doing. Aquila playing a different style that we usually see.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem is it's 20 minutes in and Sovereignty is only rank 1. It's just the Iron Mail. And, you know, when is that going to be done? 30 minutes, 35. We'll see. But on the left-hand lane, pushing up a little bit far is Shaggy's Hank. He'll be forced back from this rotation. Great ward coverage from Coast there. And Ping's coming out on the right-hand side, though. Confrey could be in trouble. Will be getting a rotation out from his mid laner. And with Sprint, he seems to be mostly okay. Honestly, Aphrodite's pretty good at kiting.
But Emilzy getting very low, and a great knockup from over the wall one more time. Pretty Prime with the blind meatballs, the magma bombs going fantastic for that Vulcan. You know, that's attachment to the character, that's familiarity with the character, and Pretty Prime we talked a little bit about it. Now you get to see it. The players are the ones that get to tell the story, and Pretty Prime really, really bringing it home with those. Will be enough, Cret. They're only down by 2K.
They're only down by 2K indeed. Now grouping up in the middle lane. This tower should go down as the rotation comes out from Coast around the back side. And actually not pressing in immediately is Aquila. Coast is going to be here. It is 5v3. Carino stunned out. No escape coming through. Will not find a pull, but the Earthshaker's going to connect and explode Carino. 860 to the face. Kanye backing off.
Princess Tomato jumping into 4. Variety the only one here. Princess Tomato going to go down to the hand of the Hunter. Very strange play coming out from the support. And now Variety, despite being Zhongqi, is surrounded. Gets one member. Pretty Prime will fall, but Confree going to trade it away almost immediately onto that guy. And that's going to be an incredible fight going the way of Aquila. 1-4-3. They're going to find their way to the Fire Giant, but there are two members still up. There is a Nemesis played by Emilzy, and then a Hunter played by Mr. Shaggy's Hank. Does Aquila have enough damage to really take this down fast enough before Emilzy can give them trouble?
Honestly, probably. We'll see Nice Divine Judgment onto Kanye. Very easy to focus. Beads used to avoid the cripple. Emilzy gets low. The Fire Giant will reset and burst down Confree. And it's going to be saved. The focus from Aquila wasn't quite there. They took a little bit too much damage. And Aphrodite's a great healer. She's great at keeping her teammates alive. She's not good at healing an entire team. That's not what she does.
Exactly. She only heals one person. You connect with that kiss that we see come out. The pink line is what connects her to her target. And from there, the Lovebirds will heal her and her partner, but only her partner. It won't heal the rest of the team, unfortunately. So that's only you're not able to do too much with that. Emilzy almost dies, but Aquila is forced to turn around. Fire Giant doesn't go that way, and that's actually going to be a great play for Team Coast. They're playing so well with Emilzy on the battlefield today.
But the other thing we haven't mentioned is Ataraxia is currently sitting 4-0-3. He's a very important player for Aquila. Pretty Prime 7-5-6, so he's died a lot, but given the way Prime builds, he probably should be dying more than he does. I mean, homie rushes Vamp Shout Soul real quick, no potion start on pretty much every mid. So I feel like that's a little bit of karma biting him, but the carries for Aquila are very much in play.
Yeah, the carries are definitely coming up, and here's a fight coming out sort of near the mid lane. Kindly Life forced to run away. Princess Tomato again jumping into 4 people. Surrounded, taking a lot of damage from Pretty Prime, from Confree. All sorts of targets are on Princess Tomato. In comes Ataraxia looking for the fight. Doesn't seem like Aquila got the memo. They're going to go ahead and hang back just a little bit, and with Shaggy's Hank pushing on this left-hand tower, we're going to see the rotation of both Thor and Ataraxia from the back and the front. Shaggy's Hank has already smelled it out and retreating on the left-hand side. Good play coming out from Team Coast, knowing exactly when to bail.
And good play coming out from Team Coast, positioning around the Goldfields will be spawning soon. They're going to actually find engagement from Confree, who's diving in real quick on that after the target is Kanye, who dies almost immediately. Carreño surviving in the back, just barely in his heels. Ataraxia will fall. Repicas coming through, but not strong enough.
Thor lands on the front two instead of the very low Carreño. Might have been able to get a kill if he landed on that Rob, but would have been instantly turned on by Variety, Emilzy, and Shaggy's Hank. So good decision making, but unfortunately doesn't really wind up in anything. And the Gold Fury will be relinquished by Aquila to the enemy team. Aquila will pick up their speed buff and look towards the back camps as Thor just sort of farms. And that's going to be a good win for Team Coast. Not only do they win the fight, they win the prior fight, and they go ahead and they get the Gold Fury. 3,600 gold, 3,700 gold separates the two teams at the 26-minute mark. 21 kills to 15. Team Coast in the lead.
Now, the good news is Aquila finally has their sovereignty at 25-30 in the game, so delayed by about 10 minutes by buying this Witchblade. Totally not worth, Wingblade. Totally not worth it. Totally not something they should have done, and definitely a strategy that you need to evaluate going forward because it has hurt them. Sovereignty is an item that everyone always buys, but when you actually look at it, adding 20 protections to everyone is huge. Positioning around the Fire Giant is Team Coast.
Right-hand mid-camp is going to spawn at 26 minutes in. It's not exactly a huge objective, so you'll see teams start to ignore this as the fights and the game sort of rages on. They'll pick it up if they're there, but they're really not going to focus on it the way they do earlier in the game. I like this move by Team Coast. They want to sort of posture themselves in front of the Fire Giant.
Yeah.
So telling Aquila, if you want to fight for this, I'm down, but we will do this in your jungle because we are the aggressors. They're sitting very pretty. They have 3 level 20s right across the map from their enemies, 3 level 20s, but Kindly Life is level 13, Kret. 8 deaths on his part, and level 13 just isn't able to really compete, especially as a tank.
Yep, but, I mean, everyone else is pretty much even, right? It's 20, 20,
Exactly.
20, and 18 across the board. Junglers at 18, everyone else at 20. So experience is really just supports right now, and it's a 9,000 difference. Granted, experience does continue to count up for players that are level 20, but now you want to be really talking more about levels and gold.
Exactly.
Gold is there. 5,000 is a difference on the right-hand side. Repicas a little caught out, has used his hammer, so what's his plan to get out of here?
He's just got to run away and sort of choose the
Good
right
plan.
path. He's got to choose the right path right there. Had he gone directly back into the jungle, that would have spelled curtains for him. But he finds a way into the lane, so no harm, no foul for wasting that hammer. And Coast probably could have capitalized a little bit more.
Kanye Life is really seeming to be the primary link target from Confrey here.
Yeah.
So they're taking their low-level support, and instead of increasing the power of someone who's strong, they're increasing the power of someone who's weak, and sort of bringing him up to Princess Tomato's level, which I totally respect. Looking at the engagement, no anti-heal out from Aquila yet. They will have a Brawler's Beat Stick from their Hunter, but not right now, and that's a big problem because Carreño is a big healer in this current stage of the game. Carreño needs to die first. He's the target. With this Earthshaker, he will fall.
Good blink coming in from Kanye Life to really start that up. The beads come out, and that's going to protect Variety, but not so for Princess Tomato as Repicos picks up Shaggy Shank in the back. Now he's being aggressed on, and he got his protection shredded and his life by Emilzy. 4 members in blue, 2 members in red right here, aggressing on the back end of the Fire Giant. Aquila wanting to win this fight. This one will be big. Emilzy going to fall right here. Ataraxia getting credit for that kill, evening up the kills 18 to 22. Very, very good fight coming out from the boys in blue. 1 kill, 1 death on their side, 3 deaths on Team Coast, and not including Princess Tomato, who's lurking and waiting to try for the steal.
Yeah, he has the opportunity. Ares can immune the knock-up with Searing Flesh, and actually Pretty Prime on the backside does spot this out. Jumping in, knock-up. Who's it going to be?
Aquila!
Too early from Princess Tomato. That's not a mistake. That's how you play it. When you're the stealer, you go early, you try to beat their hog, and you hope that it's not too early.
And Aquila goes ahead and picks that up despite their deficit. Down 3,000 gold at the time, even more so. Go ahead and secure one of the biggest objectives in the game. Fire Giant, 4 members of their team should have it. Replicas spawning just a little bit too late, but 4 members is all you really need, especially when Kanye Life, who's below level 14, that Fire Giant will bring him up just a little bit with respect to his damage, which is what you want out of your area support. So now it's all about what does Aquila do with this, Kret? Do they look for a tower? Do they look for the gold tree that will spawn in about a minute? Where do they go from here?
There are currently 4 towers on the map from Team Coast. That is 5,000 gold that is just sitting around waiting to be taken. I think that's where they go first. If they can take a Phoenix, go for it. Phoenixes are great. They give you gold in a lesser amount than a tower, but Phoenixes, when they die, are permanently impacted. They will forever only respawn with half health and half damage, so they're not as strong, and the first kill is the most important. When you get it, or when you can get it, you should take it. But gold right now is the key factor for Aquila, so I want to see this Fire Giant give them control of the game and look towards the next Fire Giant. They're a team that plays safe, so it's not really unexpected.
And I love this play, Kret. I much would rather see Aquila go for all of these towers. 1,500 gold per tier 2. Just take them off the board. Don't go too hard and try and get the Phoenix, which would give you fantastic map positionment, but it's all about the gold right now. Your job is to get rid of the gold deficit that you're at, and already lead change. 700, 800 gold in the lead is Aquila. They took their deficit. They made a huge power play on the fight, and here comes one in the right-hand lane.
All right, that's just beads popped, and that is the Ares tax in action.
Yep.
You got to pay your taxes, or else you get pulled.
That definitely happens, but Aquila going to go ahead, rest on their laurels and back off, sort of looking to regroup.
Gold Fury probably.
2,200 gold in the lead. They've evened up the experience as well as everybody sort of reaches level 20. Only about a half a level separate the 2 supports, which previously was 3 levels. And Aquila's going to go ahead and make Gold Fury off of this as well. This has been one of the more prosperous Fire Giant pushes we've seen in a long time. They get 2 towers in the left lane, the rest of the towers on the map, which is all tier 2s, 1 tier 1, and the Gold Fury after fighting fantastically. That's a solid comeback right there. They were down by about 4,000 or 5,000 gold, I think, Kret.
Yeah.
Now they're ahead, 3,500 gold, 19 to 22. Read the kills. Team Coast still leading in the kills, but Aquila leading everywhere where it counts.
I mean, the only thing you can say against them, and honestly, I think this is more a compliment than anything, Kanye Life level 16.
Right.
Considering he's 08 and 12, he should probably be a lower level.
Yeah.
So they've been playing very well, getting him back in the game, and in some of these later team fights, they're using his cripple to secure the kills that can be harder to get, specifically Emilzy. The other thing to mention is look at the consumables from Aquila right here. 2 wards, 1 sentry from almost everyone, except for Confrey only bought 1 regular ward because he's a slacker.
We just saw the sentry from Kanye Life be dropped right there, and looking for the left-hand side fight is going to be Aquila. They're right here. They're positioning themselves, and we're going to see Kanye Life look for the murder, as was his previous name. He's going to find it. He's going to blink in. He gets a great pull. Everybody on those chains, everybody beads out. Princess Tomato going to jump forward, looking for the aggression. Aquila on the back foot now. Bad Vulcan ult going to hit just one as it's inside the wall. Variety taking a lot of damage, and Pretty Prime gets the kill with the backfire. Emilzy very low, forced out of the fight.
Wow.
Shaggy's Hank completely annihilated by his enemy Hunter, and this will be the Phoenix fight. 2 members already down 3, not enough to push, and Aquila find their way towards the middle Phoenix as well.
Yeah, middle Phoenix will go down. I know I talk a lot about Atarexia's build, but one of the other big advantages, no RNG, you always hit for 400. Instead of occasionally critting for 900, don't get me wrong, critting for 900 is great. Hold on, fight coming out. Emilzy is the target, and Emilzy will go down almost immediately. Princess Tomato jumps in, but he cannot disrupt enough. The final Phoenix will fall, and there is almost no possibility of recovery from Coast. This is looking like Aquila.
Yeah, I mean, we've never, ever seen a game where all 3 Phoenixes have come down and there have been a comeback.
I think it was like last year. It's been a long time. Very hard to do.
So Team Coast really, it was, I want to say, a little bit back and forth for the first beginning of the game, and then Team Coast sort of did the Aquila strategy and took bit by bit.
Yes, but let's talk about a little bit more about why the comeback's so hard. And what's going to happen here is Aquila is going to walk to the Fire Giant.
Right.
And then be like, okay, we're going to sit here. If you don't come stop us, we get Fire Giant, and then they just kill the Titan. They can ignore Coast almost entirely. If Coast tries to stop them get the Fire Giant, Coast's base will die, and it looks like Coast is going to take the all-in and try and fight over the FG. They need to go now. You see the pings coming out. Aquila's like, okay, let's buy time. They've come out of their base, get a little bit of map pressure. They have plenty of time here. It's just a waiting game, and look, they're sitting around the wall. They're going to wait to go in.
Yeah, I mean, basically what happens when you kill the Phoenixes, you get more powerful minions, and they're able to just overtake
5v4. Time to go.
Look, 5v4. Aquila wants to fight. Kanye Life blinks in, gets the chains onto 2, but no pulls right there. Carino going to take out Ataraxia while Shaggy's Hank already forced out. Princess Tomato jumps to avoid the Vulcan. Up in the air is Repicaz. 1-0 are the trades right now. Repicaz gets the kill to even that up. 4 members in blue surrounding Princess Tomato. He's got no jump available. Just a couple of seconds. Good hit from the backfire, but that is a tank, folks. Going to take a lot more to kill him. Kanye Life being aggressed on by Carino, and Aquila looking for a second engage.
Yeah, Coast has to disengage because only Shaggy's Hank, even though he's a late game hunter, not enough to turn this around, and stopping the disengage is Aquila. Emilzy very low, use the Retribution Shield as Carino goes down. Now Princess Tomato in a lot of trouble, running for his life, clapping. He knows it's over. And this should just be the game once they get the kill. Oh, belly flop away. All right, he could survive, but it still should be the Titan.
Yeah, they're going to completely ignore him. No reason to really kill the tank. He's just there to provide resistance, which is exactly what he was doing. And now, not so much. Kanye Life comes in onto the Titan, brings out the fire, and everybody else brings out all of their abilities to the party. A little bit of resistance here from Team Coast, but it's not enough. And in 36 minutes of regulation play, 6,800 gold in the lead, and finally eking out one more kill. 24 to 23 kills. Read the lead. Aquila takes the win.
Very close game, closer than SK, and man, props to Coast though.
Yeah,
like,
Coast really came out to play.
That was not what we were expecting from this team. I mean, they lost their jungler. They seemed completely demoralized, but Emilzy coming in, killing it. His slash line didn't look as good, but it's not just the numbers in this case. It's behind the scenes. It's what he does for the team. It's how he played and how he leads his team. This is a Coast. We have not seen them play this well since Cologne.
Which is interesting, correct? They have their original, not their original lineup, but they have the 5 people that really enjoy playing together.
Yeah.
These are the 5, the culture, the team, the family of Team Coast. This is what it is, and we do see Team Coast defeated. Aquila wins right here, but they did fantastic. Taking a look on the Aquila victory side, though, Ataraxia 7-2-7, fantastic slash line alongside his mages, Pretty Prime on that Vulcan and Confrey on that Aphrodite, who we're actually going to take a look at right here. With 13 assists coming through in the clutch, here he is.
Yeah, Confrey able to get 25,000 healing, which is shocking against a Raw. Nice burst onto that rot and will get the kill with the doves. Sneaky KSers. Now Kanye trying to get the pull back in, and look at where the link is. He's currently just making sure he's supporting the right member of his team behind him, but he knows who he's linked to, and it looks like it's going to be the tank still. Birds coming through, healing up, and now Emilzy is the next target.
I love the positioning coming out from Confrey here, Kret. Just like he shoved out the enemy support in the back line. He shoved out the enemy support in the back line with his movement and his kiss, but was able to stay positioned close enough to his link. Not once did we see an accidental broken link.
Not even close.
Fantastic plays coming out. Just understanding the distance and how far he can really push that link.
Yeah, I mean, the link is also the player who he's linked to playing around it, so they're clearly practices after that. And his positioning from Confrey is safe but available, which is so cool to see. Great play coming out there. Aquila currently 2-0 for the day, and I believe that actually secures their spot. They will be going to the regionals. They've got it does not secure their spot. Potato Boys coming up next. They need this game, and if they win it, they will be 5-1.
Right. This next one is going to be very important. This is Aquila versus Potato Boys. This is going to be one of the more classic matchups that we've had 7 weeks in a row in the Challenger Cup. We saw them play last week, and boy, was it a fight to really be seen. Check it out. It's going to come up right next. Aquila versus Potato Boys. Stay tuned for more Wildcards.
Potato Boys.